Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Wreaths and Things. Today's video and today's wreath was really inspired by something we purchased recently at Michael's. So at Michael's there was a sale, buy one get one free or buy one get one half off. I can't really remember what it was on doormats. So this is the doormat that we purchased for our front door, or front entrance I should say. And I just love the flamingo and those tropical leaves. And that really inspired me, along with, of course, the beautiful weather we've been having lately. It's been really hot and really humid, and the sun's been out. So it's just absolutely gorgeous here. And I wanted to create a fun summer aloha wreath. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you what I came up with. An 18-inch wire wreath frame was what I'm going to be using today, and I had a mini haul at the Dollar Tree, so I shopped around in their little tropical section. These are little coasters which I thought were really cute. You could totally use those for a wreath. There's these colorful headbands. You see the Leis in the background as well. These are little umbrellas that you put in the drinks along with this pinwheel. I may not use everything today, but I just wanted to show you all the stuff that you can get at the Dollar Tree to create your own little Aloha Lei wreath. Look at these little flip-flops. Hello, summer! And of course, that pink flamingo. I'm going to be using all of these today, along with these leaves that I got from Amazon. I got these a little while back, and I'm going to create a nice aloha tropical wreath full of color using those leis. And here is the lei. It comes one in a package, and all I'm going to do is I wanted to untie these, but I was afraid that everything would fall apart. So what I decided to try, and this was fully kind of me experimenting in my studio as always, they have these little straws that separate the little flowers. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my scissors and carefully, I don't want to cut the string that's inside that straw, but I am going to take that little piece of plastic out, and then I'm not going to cut it just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hot glue to glue down that string at the end of the flower. Before I cut it, I don't want to cut it first because I don't want to have everything fall off. So I'm just going to make sure that that hardens just a little bit, lay it flat just on its back, and then just make sure that fully dries before I do anything else. After it's kind of semi-dry, move it off to the side and I start working on my other leis. In total, I had 8 leis, but I used 7. And you'll see how full it got. I thought it was really great. I didn't feel the need to add the 8th one. 7 was perfect. So here I am just continuing gluing down those strings right onto the petals of the lei, just making sure it hardens before I do anything. Because again, I don't want those to come apart. And once they're all dry and I have got all 8 all glued down, I am just going to make sure that I cut it without cutting any of the glue off, because we want to keep the glue there as well. And I'm just going to cut that string. And once we cut that string, it's going to create a nice long garland of that lei. Again, you don't have to cut it if you don't want to. You can keep it together and wrap it around. I just wanted to cut it just to see if I can get more out of those 8 leis rather than having to buy 16 if I doubled it up. If that makes sense to you guys. But I keep cutting those garlands, and once I've cut all of them, I'm going to start off using this blue color. And really, it's really simple. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the end of that lei, and then I'm just going to use some hot glue. And I did use quite a bit because I wanted to make sure that it was going to stick to that wire frame. And then I just stick it right onto that frame. Of course, watch out for that hot glue. I burned myself several times today doing this. I lost my little silicone tool that I use. I couldn't find it. I don't know where I put it. I know it's somewhere here in my studio, but I lost it somewhere and I want to find it again. But anyways, all I'm doing is I'm wrapping that lei around. Once the glue settled with the first little attachment, I'm going to wrap it around and I'm pushing it fairly close to each other, and I'm trying to fluff up those little petals just to kind of, they can hide that plastic white little straw thing that separates. I don't even know what you're going to call it. That separates our lei flowers. And I'm just wrapping it around. Nothing really fancy, just wrapping it around. I'm not pulling it too tight or it's too loose. And then right at the very end, I'm going to add some more hot glue and then glue it down on one of the wires from our wire wreath frame. And you can kind of see from here, it's looking nice and fluffy. It's not too crowded. It's not too loose. It's kind of hiding most of those straws, and I'm very happy about how it came out, and you can kind of see what it looks like here. Moving on to my second lei, this is kind of a bright yellow. It just lights up the screen, and I just loved how bright this was. All I'm going to do is the same that I did with the blue. I'm going to add a little hot glue right at the very end of the garland, attach that to the piece of metal, and then once that's all nice and secured, I'm going to start wrapping that lei all the way around. And again, I'm pretty careful with these because I don't want them to fall apart, number one, and I don't want to have to pick up all these florals and straws if it did come apart. And obviously you don't want it to come apart on your wreath either. So I'm pretty careful, I'm pretty gentle. I'm not pulling it too tight or pulling it too hard. I'm just kind of rolling around with it. And you'll see here I'm coming at the end once more, and I'm just going to hot glue that down right in place on that wire wreath frame. And then I have my first of many colors attached to my wreath frame. I just want to flip it over here and show you guys how full it looks once you add just two of them on there. You can't see those straws. It looks full. And then, of course, we have tons of room to add more garland, more leis, and just make it nice and bright and colorful. You can see here I've got 4 of them on, and it's pretty much covering just a little over half of that wreath. And then I'm just going to keep continuing on until I put my last lei on there, and we are all done making our base. Again, I used 7 of the leis from the Dollar Tree to make this. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I do what I call, quote unquote, a dry run with all of my wreaths. So I take all of the items that I want to put on the wreath and I just kind of play around with it. These are little tropical florals I had in my stash as well from the Dollar Tree. It was on a vine, and I'm just going to use those instead of all of the flowers. And once I finish my dry run and I'm happy with the placement of everything, I'm just going to use that hot glue gun until there's no tomorrow, gluing everything down. And of course, we need that flamingo to be the centerpiece here, the focal point. And I just love that floral yellow, orange, pinks, just screams tropical, screams summer, and I just love how this turned out. There we go, our final product of our Aloha tropical wreath using the leis and the other products from the Dollar Tree. I didn't use everything that I showed you right in the beginning, but you can pick and choose and add whatever you want on there. Those flip-flops would be so cool on here. Even if you find like a tropical hat, that would be really cool as well, adding it to your wreath. Thank you so much for joining me today on my little Aloha tropical adventure making this wreath. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.